spaceship sleeping on an orthopedic. Yeah, I'ma tell you that shit that God be needing. Yeah, don't know why it's got fresh air, that job is breathing. Yeah, cause every time you're around I just saw a demon. I got amnesia, don't remember how I need you. I tried to teach you, but you ain't got them kind of features. The final leader, gonna blaze like I'm Adidas, yeah. Hallelujah, can I say I ain't trying to reach us, yeah. Yeah, Annie, are you okay? We're spitily dreaming. Yeah, Annie, are you okay? I'm about to beat it. Yeah, Annie, are you okay? I can't believe it. Yeah, Annie, are you okay? Why can't you see it? Yeah, and I gotta call up, what, yeah. And I gotta call up, yeah. And I gotta call up, what, yeah. And I gotta call up, yeah. And I gotta call up, what, yeah. And I gotta call up, yeah. And I gotta call up, yeah. Where's Shimona? In Arizona. Just a serotonin. Fuck that paranoia. The pilot man, yeah. The pilot man, yeah. The pilot man, yeah. They want you the massages for a long time, yeah. But you plan too many games off your car, yeah. If you wanna talk about the mansions on my time, yeah. Ain't none of earth just to make sure you know who's flights, yeah. Ain't none of earth to see now who woke. My spaceship is a two-door. Ain't gonna nobody points or kudos. Who's fucking too cold? Forever making music, you never too old. It's in the glucose. Sugar spice and everything lifestyle, you know. Who's flights? Yeah, star walk all through the sky, but I'm barely dancing. Yeah, no contact covering my eye like I'm Marilyn Manson. Yeah, came from a world where the spirits don't care for standing. Yeah, throw a little parliament flying in the air, not landing. Splits. Yeah, Annie, are you okay? We're spitily dreaming. Yeah, Annie, are you okay? I'm about to beat it. Yeah, Annie, are you okay? I can't believe it. Yeah, Annie, are you okay? Why can't you see it? Yeah, and I gotta call up, what, yeah. And I gotta call up, yeah. And I gotta call up, what, yeah. And I gotta call up, yeah. And I gotta call up, what, yeah. And I gotta call up, yeah. And I gotta call up, yeah. Where's Shimona? This existence, why you call it universe? I change your uranium first when I'm fun, they start copying me like they Lucifer. Jewish individuals created chocolate Judah, the J, that's some Jupiter. Just like the man, they gon' bring from the sky, they might like the Newer Jerusalem. I can give a flying for nigga wisdom. They took over the whole world. Chicken lane, chicken lane, chicken lane. Got it looking for a home girl. Get up on the brain and the outer ways. Now I can see my soul swirl. On my way straight to the inner gates. And best believe the soul girl. Yeah, Annie, are you okay? We're spitily dreaming. Yeah, Annie, are you okay? I'm about to beat it. Yeah, Annie, are you okay? I can't believe it. Yeah, Annie, are you okay? Why can't you see it? Yeah, and I gotta call up, what, yeah. And I gotta call up, yeah. And I gotta call up, what, yeah. And I gotta call up, yeah. And I gotta call up, what, yeah. And I gotta call up, yeah. And I gotta call up, yeah. Where's Shimona?
Oh, for that. Oh, for that. Whose flights? Woo-wee. Oh, for that. Putting it back to the land. Y'all say it was never meant to be colonized, capitalized as a war cry and put on somebody's track for someone to be looked like a goddamn clown. Oh, for that. We're going to talk about the mind. We're going to talk about the mind a little bit. We're going to talk about things that condense, manifest, and some of y'all got unstable organs right now. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all left lung is like 6 centimeters shorter than the right lung. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all collarbone is misconnected with the right shoulder blade or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all left eardrum. You know what I'm saying? Somewhere near your tonsils or however the case may be. And some of y'all got eczema on the thyroid. But there's a lot of things going on because a lot of things get manifested. We're going to get into it. See, we got to get into these things. Spirituality for the hood of the reservations. You see what I'm saying? Because when you don't know these things, a lot of times you already grandpa at the age of 21. You know what I'm saying? You already got the grandma waistline And you ain't had no kids yet. Yo, it's a lot of different things that be going on that we people need help with in the goddamn hood. You know what I'm saying? Real stuff. And you know what I mean? Make sure you visit a medicine man. Make sure you visit a medicine man and get you flying high like the pilots. And we ain't talking about some corporation ran by other people getting rich off of it. If I don't own no airport or airplane, don't care about it. Don't care about an airline. Unless we talk about the mental one. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Anything else, who cares about it? Someone trying to make themselves important. You got the money already. Anything else, no one care about. You know what I'm saying? Change the name, change it to something else, or whatever the case. Same people running it. Other than that, you just got to understand what life about in certain circumstances and why you be holding on to certain memories and it been down into you having arthritis in your left kneecap. And it's a whole lot of other, so you get stiff, that stiff energy and stuff like that. And a lot of times it manifests as y'all not moving around too. Once it become a physical result, it already have taken place. It's already a circumstance that you already in. It's already your spiritual space. It's already the mentality you develop, and it just taking its course. Now, by the time it reach physical, you be needing a lot of external assistance. And that's things that we have created from the physical world. And a lot of times these things become crutches, y'all vices, the things that you lean on and depend on. Yet it ain't an actual representation of what anyone should be leaning and depending on and stuff like that. You know, like that powder pill or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all go to the hospital for one medication, leave with 7 more. You know what I'm saying? But that's a different scenario that we actually talking about, because once it become physical, like I said, this after the fact, and I'm an Aries. We always going to be talking about first intent. I'm just the higher octave spiritual one, and it's beyond zodiac. So I'm be talking about the first intent and the world of it. You know what I'm saying? Not this practicing it for lower octave stuff and stuff that y'all involved in, but it's stuff that y'all pay attention to every day that you don't care about because of your attention span towards it. Yet it's an actual imminence, and it bends in as a remnants, and it actually play out as your body, and it play out as your way of thinking, and it play out as your bodily tissues and your bodily fluids and stuff like that. And then you'll be blaming God when a lot of times it was your responsibility to take these certain attributes and look at them like they're important, because they don't do nothing but lead into actions anyway, which we're going to get into, is like the mind, right? But it's just certain attributes. You always got to know that your spirit is the observer. So your spirit is the one conducting. So if you are lost in the things that you are observing, then the things you are observing is controlling your spirit. And a lot of times there's other spirits that have been born here that created so much comfort zones in these areas that a lot of times you get absorbed into your mind so much and think you are the mind and not the one observing the mind. So you'll get lost in whatever mental phase you're going through at the moment. And a lot of y'all be thieves, a lot of y'all be manipulators, a lot of y'all be perverts, a lot of y'all be in a lot of other circumstances in your lives, and certain, we can see it every day. All you got to do is turn on MTV. All you got to do is turn on your apps, and someone from MTV will be on there with the same problem, however the case may be. And I think you don't really have to say that pseudo. Me tying it to, we just had a full moon of Scorpio. Everybody getting exposed with their booty hole. Everybody getting exposed with they, you know what I'm saying? And here's the thing. You got to be careful when you're an intelligent person too, because the world is so wicked. People's God is money. So people will utilize what's real for a synthetic version of it, or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? This is why I don't talk about a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of y'all was hearing about Boston Richies and all this stuff. He running a whole play. It's a whole difference between something really happening and someone creating that's like a call in his mind. Somebody creating a narrative around something to get some monetary gain off of it. So you serving something that we just call the devil, but it really ain't the devil. It's just your insecurity you serving, and your insecurity could be you not being able to feed your family, or you being in a position and not wanting to let people down. It could be a lot of people pleasing internal qualities that really is just something simple that once these things get burnt out and over outdated and stuff like that, a person have to over exaggerate that old and outdated energy to still stay alive. So for the most part, this is how you get narcs and egotistical people and people acting out old school characters for the sake of monetary gain, just to control other individuals with and things of that nature. And we get all that manuscript You know what I'm saying? So for the most part, the way a person move their eyeballs, you know what I'm saying, the way a person move their left elbow, you'll know if they're doing it for some monetary gain or not, or whatever the case may be. So and then we got this new age version of doing it, where people just think, especially if you're in some type of industry, you think you could just get online and there's just free gold everywhere. So you could just take what people going through and try to remix it and give it to one of these artists, one of these sheep or something like that, make them look or act like they go. Keyword, act. Everything is wrestling. Act like that's going on or whatever the case may be. Guess what? It's more people in real life actually going through these things. And when people actually going through these things, whatever you act like you going through, we too broke to buy it. You know what I'm saying? Spiritually and physically. You broke to buy it. So you just gonna crash out yourself and not be in a position to be able to do any other crash out narrative. So get more into y'all talents, y'all creativity before y'all want to get into, well, all I need is this attention and I can put out this album. All I need is this attention. God don't give a bonk about attention right now. And anytime you try it, you act. Here's the thing. We're in a new shift right now before we even get into this live. It means it's about to be 12 minutes. Peep game. We're in a new shift right now. If you don't know the way the wind blow, and that's just generalizing it, you should be able to see it based upon your interactions and things of that nature and be a little bit more spiritually involved to be able to understand there's a different way to move in areas that you still may think is comfort because of the external results that it create and what Walt Disney have taught us. But for the most part, check it out. There we go. When we get to new energies that we are in and things of that nature, once upon a time, it may have been safe to dive into, hey, maybe if I get attention, even if it's the wrong attention, I could transmute it or whatever the case may be for the sake of this monetary gain. But beyond you being in a business or whatever the case may be, there's something in real life happening when it comes to shifts, whether you believe in God or whatever the case may be. There's a shift, just like the water waves is shifting. You know what I'm saying? The leaves on the trees are shifting. So when we get into what I'm getting ready to talk about, this is a piggyback off of it before we get into it. The way the leaves is blowing is the same way the atmosphere, the air, your mentality, all of these is attached to the same thing. So when it comes into a generalized, what they call that, not a subjective, an objective concept going on, no matter how you individually do it, you still got to swim on a water wave the way the water wave is directed. You ain't controlling the water wave. You just controlling your own interactions within it. Do you know how to swim or not? So if you don't know how to look at it spiritually, what leads into mannerisms and characteristics, then those who are spiritually inclined will be able to look at the wave of characteristics. And there's a certain characteristic you have to develop attention, and the meanings and reasonings, the ground basis behind things is the shift, the building blocks, and that's being torn down. Your way of going about attention is not the same. See what I'm saying? And anytime somebody do that, it creates a disdain. So you end up having a stain on your image, mental image, intellectual property, and whatever you try to direct that in when you start to physically take action towards these goals. And would it look like to represent it or whatever the case may be. So attention is not the main thing, right? And y'all have been in a system that been predicated on the ground basis of the main need of attention. But y'all could have seen this even when it came to YouTube and stuff like that, where the common individual who don't got y'all access to networking and abilities and don't got deals like y'all still was able to gain senses of notoriety, whether the feds was involved or not. Still, it doesn't matter. Had to get somebody's attention, even for it to even get duplicated and other people to get involved to manipulate numbers and things of that nature. But other than that, it's showing you that attention ain't the main thing. And there's other genuine causes that has to be applicable to whatever that you're doing and directing your energy towards, and hopefully is being productive for you to start to produce results. And we're going through a new shift. So that new thing that you do and those results, your actions and those results will be the actual inspiration of how to obtain a new version of attention, how to obtain a new version of attraction, and how you deal with it, because it ain't the what, it's the how. You could turn it into a new version of a toxicity, or you could keep it light and keep it cute. And then for the most part, it's not an ego thing, and you keep people in their creative abilities to let them know that they have that same attribute. They just have to put time in what's important. Therefore, that energy will trickle down into even things like music, where a person will understand the creativity is more important than the little narrative and the shock value thing you get ready to do. And then you still put out a trash record anyway, and you just spent all that money and on a rollout, and it didn't result until you sell a record or whatever. So the music is always first. You know what I'm saying? Even back in the day, rollouts was predicated on the single. So once you hear the music and you like it, now you get the rollout. Now you get the commercials or whatever. You put the music out, no one like it. That was the telling for the industry to be like, it's not worth putting money into it. Now we get this, let's pick this person type thing. So it's like, we have to try to make this work, because the people who's not giving attention importance is actually getting this new version of attention, and we have to colonize it. No matter the ethnicity. I'm just using that term for controlling something and transmuting it within the capitalism. But for the most part, once you got people you can control, you have to invest and pay for them to look like the new shift that's actually becoming this new version of what we're considering attention. So you could be fighting two type of battles. It's a mental warfare going on right now. Light and dark, if you want to call it like that. Dark is trying to uphold an old and outdated battle. So they have to make the new way of getting attention look sloppy, look like it's not practical, look like it's irrational, look like this don't make sense. Yet copy it in so many ways to show you that's the version of, you know what I'm saying? Maybe capitalizing it. It could be your next door neighbor capitalizing or colonizing you or whatever. You doing something brand new, but it don't look like the normal social norm way. It don't look like the traditional way, whatever. But yet, every time somebody practices the traditional way, we see the tradition. But after 2016, the rollout don't lead into the amount of record sales. The rollout tradition, no way of doing it, don't lead into the same amount of people showing up at the concerts or whatever the case may be. So we're going through a time where more than ever, how it was always like this, but at least it was more slick and advanced, where it was more of a bet to trickle down into reality, where now is this more falsified, false everywhere or whatever, where most of the concert tickets was gave out for free just for people to show up for the look. The numbers is inflated or whatever the case may be, and more of that on a percentage scale is being invested in, and it's less on a percentage scale of it accumulating it into reality, where people be like, oh, it has the look. Oh, everybody likes it. Oh, it got the likes. Everybody's watching this. Oh, it's on this platform. So I must be missing out if I'm not participating. I must be missing out if I ain't licking an ice cube in the middle of the street. I must be, but however the case. This is what y'all be feeling like and stuff when y'all get lost in the loopity-loop systems, but don't understand that life is bigger than you, the consumer, and the individuals that's in business, and you being a consumer too, or whatever. And when an actual life goes in shift, it's everybody's personal responsibility to understand how that shift is going, to make their own creativity and their own position substantiated. And here's the thing, like I said, I'm a master orator. It goes right back to what I was talking about. It's going to be you as the main representative, face on the esoteric billboard, and an example of which way it's going to go. Is it going to turn into a new version of toxicity once this new fruit get ate all up and people still not satisfied and unfulfilled and things of that nature? Or is you going to be able to know how to do something in moderation and allow yourself to spiritually stay in that space where you knew how to produce that seed in the first place? Therefore, new fruit and things of that nature is growing. But however the case it may be, you know what I'm saying? That's the space that everybody is in at the moment when it comes into this shift. And attention is not the main focal goal on actually maintaining or gaining any type of traction or gratification. You see what I'm saying? You could kind of look at things in the industry right now. You could kind of look at wrestling and what Triple H is doing with wrestling. And then you could kind of look at another corporation and see what they're doing, right? And then see what's successful and see who crashing out. We could see wrestling is kind of going up a little bit from the past years and that little transition through Vince McMahon. So it must be something Triple H is doing right. You can see other corporations and things of that nature may be failing. Now you have to go beyond the physical and go into what's actually going on. One must be over invested into trying to create narratives. One is not, and one is just being regular. So you get appreciated more when you just be regular and things of that nature. When you keep trying to do narratives and stuff like that, it's like two toilet papers from two different companies. The one with the narrative is gonna make people feel like, I don't care if it's Charmin, I don't want to buy it because maybe for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? Then the person who just got it, even if it's thinner toilet paper or whatever the case may be, they're gonna feel more comfortable because you can even look at this in the music industry right now, right? People are investing so much into, it's going beyond creativity. You don't even have to be in the studio that much, but your reciprocation as being an artist, right? If you invest in a whole lot of narratives and stuff to try to make yourself lit, you're putting yourself in the way for everybody to virtual signal and stuff, to how they trying to get their own way. If you a person that stayed out of the fluff, where once upon a time, a little bit before 2016 and stuff like that, you needed the fluff because it's part of the rollout. If you was the type of artist that wasn't part of it, it's your time now. Like you're not in our face to have no double side about it, right? You can kind of look at people like Future like that, right? He ain't the best lyricist or whatever the case may be, but the shift we going through is also beyond music. He ain't part of no fluff either. You know what I'm saying? So can't nobody pluck from his fans, from the positive, especially from the negative and the virtual signals online. He ain't in nobody's mind to pluck from nothing. So he's cool. So it's like if we all at the block party, right? The people who ain't part of no fluff right now, they cool. People who part of fluff, you got this crowd talking about who part of fluff. You got the fluff trying to control stuff. You got, you know what I'm saying? There's all kind of other stuff going on that 80% of everybody at the block party don't even care about. And the 20%, it may be like one or two out of that 20% that been doing the social norm version of it. So they probably got the most notoriety for throwing a block party, most network, they can put it together the fastest. But the people performing there and the new people and people showing up now with new dress codes and stuff like that, it's kind of like taking over the event, and the people that's putting the event together a little bit along with everybody else, the mentality that they was in and put it in the first place is not mattering. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, what do? Do you make the block party for the people who coming now? Or do you try to make the block party substantiated for the 20% of people that been doing the block parties, and this is the way we only know how block parties work, or however the case may be. Yet we got all these 80% new type of people showing up at this block party in the neighborhood, and this crowd got new dress codes. This crowd don't even care about who on the stage. They done made their own little thing, and everybody coming over there, and what? So to perform now, we don't need a stage now? What is this? YouTube. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you got it. Do y'all get the metrics in the mind? Let's get to this live stream, though. You know what I'm saying? Enough talking about the world, because I be having to generalize things. If I just get into topics, it's like I start naming people names and everybody, then I'm too intelligent. You know what I'm saying? So I just generalize stuff for everybody. Just know we just had a full moon in Scorpio. Expose energy is deep. Whether it's real or not, that's going to be the formation. You know what I'm saying? Now, check it out. When we start to talk about the mind and memory, right? This is one of the most important things. Like let's say you a person right now. Once you got a bunch of insecurities, right, it's already too late. Just like once you're dealing with physical representations, it's already too late. You have to deal with acting on the reaction. So you're living in reaction, having to play catch up, never being able to be in a space of peace to develop that external energy, the masculine energy first, whether you're a male or female. Male or female, you could be heavily in feminine energy. And we're not talking about traits where you're a man and or you're a female and wait a minute, how you getting erect? You got a taco down there. You don't got no sausage. But when you live in reactionary energy and things of that nature, you're living in the feminine world. When you're living in the actionary energy, you're living in the masculine world. Now, these things have to be balanced, though. Because when you do these things within yourself, you actually find traits and actions that ultimately is how you balance your hormones. And that's actually how you take care of any deficiency or illness you have, or whatever the case. If it's natural, if it's an unnatural cause, like you eating bad things that we have made social norms, but your body could take it, but you don't know the small nuances until it develop. And a lot of times things, it take time to develop. Pardon me, months, years. You know what I'm saying? Some things take 3 years, 4 years, 9 years, and then you'll be thinking, because you're so much distracted in your current state, you'll be thinking something happened months ago during that year, and your body start changing from the accumulation of whatever you was doing 4 years ago that you just didn't stop because it was so small on a reactionary scale based upon things we eat and stuff like that. That it's things that we don't have to actually react to fast. So for the most part, it accumulate. It accumulate. You got a lot of stuff sticking on your organs and stuff like that. And it could be other processes and stuff like that. Things that y'all do, things y'all put on y'all and stuff like that. A lot of these things start to develop and stuff like that. Even when it comes into clothes, a lot of weak polyester material and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? You could a lot of times it'll develop as dryness and callus on your skin and whatever, eczemas and stuff like that. And you'll be thinking it's something else. Go to the hospital. Doctors only know how to go on the computer and know what old studies before we had technology recommend, and then just use the easier science technology way to do something that you might not even have that problem, or whatever the case may be. So they give you some ointment cream where really it's an internal problem. So now the external thing become a crutch, aka you never solve the internal problem to not have it anymore. You just know you need that external cream to make sure it ain't itching and going through pain, or whatever the case may be. But you wasn't born with that cream, and you wasn't born with that problem. So you need to know how to substantiate where you're getting these things from before it accumulates to where it's too late. And now you have to deal with it and have to do extreme things to rebalance your hormones in order for these things to get back straight. But when it come back into memory, so we're gonna go in the matrix. Go in the matrix for a little bit and then talk about memory. Because memory is like the attention span. So when we're thinking about the attention span and things of that nature, the attention span bends into your stimuli, and your stimuli is basically your organ network, your organisms and things of that nature. And for the most part, when these things are insufficient, it's because your attention span is insufficient. And for the most part, the things that's on your mind is actually producing your blood cycle, your blood flow. Just you can look at air, oxygen as thought, and thought direct the water. So you can look at your thought directing your blood flow. But last time I checked, air condense and become clouds and become water. So last time I checked, you might think this pseudo, but thoughts condense and become your blood flow. And when you lack thought, you lack motivation. So you're not doing as much as another individual, even with your body. So whether you big or small, you still got hormonal imbalances. And you could be a small individual going through mad health problems, looking at another person that's your same size, like why you going through problems and they're not, and things of that nature. And it got all to do with what I'm talking about. You see what I'm saying? So you gotta it's about building your nutrients. The same, your sun is your attention, your solar plexus, part of your sun sign. That's what you, so just like the sun built these minerals, your thought, your attention span built these minerals. And a lot of y'all attention span is misguided. Y'all actions is y'all thought process is directed in the wrong areas. And a spirit is your space. The thought become your first body, the substance, and it bends down and become the actual organs and things. So when you're spiritually out of sync, you're developing the wrong mentalities that's not suited for the way your organs flow, and your mother and father and your family and your lineage been doing it. So you end up creating out of sync circumstances, like arthritis, out of sync circumstance, stiffness. You know what I'm saying? Stress, chronic stress, you know, burden. You know what I'm saying? Murmurs, like heart murmurs and things of that nature, where there's a lack of development or whatever the case. So, but or because these are like wear and tears. People have thin hearts and stuff like that, but that's just after the fact. A lot of people be born with that, but just other things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? Darkening within the skin, unhealthy skin, nails, hair, eyeballs, and things of that nature. This means that your body and the blood cells, there's a lack of it, and the ones you do got is working hard in specific areas, so they don't got time to flush out in the other areas that you supposed to be giving birth to. You supposed to be flourishing in, create new thoughts and feelings. They condense, become new blood cells, women estrogen, men testosterone, and then they come together, have sex, children, estrogen, but it's really just both the blood coming together, becoming thicker. So it go from blue to red, and then it goes into the direction in a strong manner, and that's estrogen. It just turns into that one thing, and then for the most part, it goes into that area of the tissue to evolve that organ to keep it flowing, right? But when you don't have that process, it starts to lack. So the ones that still is in most important, like your heart or whatever like that, other areas that become dry got to drink from these things. Now you got stiff chronic stress, and then you got deterioration in the skin and things of that nature, because other areas are still lacking, yet the areas that's needing to survive before it lack is draining those for the other areas. And then all of this start to play out outside of you on your body, through your eyeballs, through your skin, your hair, your nails, the way you move and stuff like that. And then you think and move cranky. You think and move cranky. And a lot of y'all 19 years old right now in that energy. And y'all females, and then you ain't even on your period. Because a lot of y'all may have parents and stuff like that that ain't got this type of mentality, way of thinking. So a lot of this energy just went towards their job and stuff like that. So they didn't have time to know you have to clear out the spiritual space before you develop things. So you already on a cycle. Your mother and father looked like grandma and the fairy yard grandparents at the age of 14, and you came in the world looking like the fairy yard parents at the age of 7. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times it get like that, but that's just talking about it on a broad scale. On a local scale, a lot of times y'all do this within y'all lives, and then you'll see a gradual change, just in like a 2-year span, a 3-year span, where you see other people in your family or in your surroundings and people you familiar with, you see them change structures like maybe a 5-year span, maybe a 7-year span. And here's the thing, God giving us all gifts right now. So all of us is in a situation of time has sped up, but age has slowed down. So by time speeding up, a whole 5-10 years could pass and you will still look the same, as long as you keeping up with your health or whatever the case may be. And anytime you fell behind a little bit, the sooner the better. You know what I'm saying? You don't want things to get worse. You could just stay what you got now, whatever the illness or whatever. You don't want any others, and you probably could get better too. So, that's just a little pointer out there. But at the same time, right, this is why you're able to see people in your family, friends, associates, or you might be the individual. But here's the thing, I guarantee, if you're watching this, and if you're a person that's not watching this, you're already in the mentality of being in a little bit more lighter space than the family, friends, associates, or coworkers that you around, and things of that nature, that you see them. You might be around the same age. You might have known them from high school, and it seemed like they just grew like 20 years in a span of 2 years or something like that, right? And you still look the same or whatever. You only changed just a small smidget bit or whatever, right? You supposed to know from a distance what I'm getting ready to get into, what that person is involved in on their own time. And a lot of these pressures humans put on themselves, about 90% of it is done when they're by themselves. And it's even worse when a person don't know how to be by themselves, or they live in a life where they're so distracted, like almost like a New York City apartment complex building, where you really have no peace or whatever, or you have to force to find it. Even in these areas, right, it adding even more or whatever the case may be. So this is why a lot of times even females may have dark voices, deep voices or whatever the case may be, because it's a spiritual thing going on. And it's like when you dealing with all this type of memory or whatever, and you don't know how to cleanse it or whatever, it start to play out as your actual physique. It start to play out as your actual organ. So the air actually means something. Like whoever came up with the concept of blocking out the sun or whatever the case may be wasn't in no starting point of understanding that you're made out of the sun or whatever the case may be. Like not just physically, like DNA, vitamin D, or whatever it is. Everybody know that, how people try to understand that, even though we give weird terms to certain things. But for the most part, there's a misconception of what the sun is to even come up with that idea, or whatever the case may be. There's not something you can block out. You know what I'm saying? It's not even it's like a cloud. It's a hot cloud, basically. So it's life itself. Whoever came up with that idea didn't make no sense. Must have thought the sun was something else and came up with other things in their mind. But when you understand life, you understand everything is the same thing, just in different sizes, pieces, and shapes and forms, or whatever the case may be. So it ain't like blocking out the sun, like the clouds ain't the sun, like the air ain't the sun, like you ain't the sun. Like it's like we're interconnected. So it's basically your mind. So whoever was it, so it's a self-projection thing. That's why I brought that up. Whatever a person is expressing, they're projecting. And the more that they try to dump it on others and make it a nuance, they're hiding their insecurity that may not have anything to do with it, but the insecurity is just as destructive. And that's what's going on. So 80% of these things that a person develop that be negative, that start to play out on their body, ill-wise, they develop when they're by themselves, or whatever the case may be. But when you're intelligent in the world, for an example, let's say we're describing a person that want to block out the sun. You might get into the technology of it. Oh, this is intelligent. And then you might get into the negativity of it. Why do you want to block out the sun? Because of God or whatever. But it don't have anything to do with that, right? It has everything to do with this person has something going on in their life that in their mind, they're trying to block it out. And whatever that they're doing other things to distract it of the thing that they're trying to block out, because it must be internally hurting them. And part of their distractions, one of the ideas may have just been blocking out the sun. But if the air and the sun is connected to our mind that condense and become our body and blood, or whatever the case may be, it could be no other thing. That person just didn't know that. You see what I'm saying? And if you was to explain it to that person, they probably would say, you're coming at it from a different angle or whatever. So it would take that person lifetimes, reincarnations, for them to actually understand where you're coming. Because I can't really still explain it the way I really want to explain it, just because we speak in English. Yet you should be able to be at the water right now to make your own cup. Imagination. And you know it exists because we wouldn't be able to understand it, or we wouldn't be able to explain it. So it's just you going through a new path and someone led you to a path, or now you're able to walk it yourself, or however the case may be. But you know what a person is trying to, it's an insecurity and a projection. So if a person want to block out the sun, it's purely in their own life, a mind state, a piece of their sun that they're trying to block out. A person who got a lot of ideas that they ain't trying to block out, ain't 9 times out of 10 ain't even thinking about the goddamn sun, because they too busy being one. You see what I'm saying? So the only time they thinking about the sun is when they out there enjoying it. And then the only time they're going to be talking about it is probably how explaining whatever creativity that they did that you liked them about. And that was their justification about it. Yeah, I was out in nature and I was laying out the sun. You know what I'm saying? That's about as far as it's going to get when it comes to intelligent individuals. You see what I'm saying? Because we pull from life and make things in life, other than pull from life and take it and then hide from it and things like that. But see, you have to understand, a lot of these insecurities come from a person in a position of having memories that no one knows about. Well, people may have experienced these things with them to have these type of experiences, but when they harness it internally, these is things going on even when they're around a million other individuals and when they by themselves, because it's an eternal thing. So it's really them always by themselves. But where we get ready to get into is going to help you understand it ain't what you do, is how you do it. And if you're doing these things negative, this is why you look in the mirror and you look the way you look, or you no longer look the way you looked 5 years ago, or you're going through an illness or whatever the case may be, and you don't know where you got that illness from. Your back ankle somehow always feels sprained, and you ain't ever play a day of football or whatever the case may be. Yet you running around more injured than someone who actually got their ACL, whatever the case may be, injured, actually doing something. You know what I'm saying? So this is where this comes from. Now,
Why memory is more than the physical experiences and your harnessing abilities. The things you choose to remember shows your memory, your mental capacity based on the things that matter or not. Let me repeat. The things you choose to remember shows your mental capacity based on things that matter or not. Remember, Walt Disney, and that shout out to the Disney family. I'm just generalizing the term, another term for social norms. A lot of these commercials and things of that nature and social norms, and when you go out and about, will have you choose to invest your mental capacity, thinking, to develop memories even when you're not experiencing it. You're laying in the bed, you're in your household, you're dealing with other people, and these things in the back of your mind, these things in your pineal gland, they keep popping up as more importance than things in the current moment or whatever the case may be. A lot of times, these things don't matter, but they're considered to matter due to the fact of how you allowed them to affect your life and the social norm of importance of it. See what I'm saying? So things that became to matter that really don't matter in life become the substance you're actually creating also. So you end up having the first impression of you don't matter as much, and your body start to play out after that also. It playing out like it don't matter what you trying to do. You might not be up for it. It don't matter what you want to be. You might be fatigued that day. It don't matter. You see what I'm saying? And then now you mad at yourself and you mad at God or whatever. But it's all a matter thing. What matters in your mind condenses and become the physical matter. So mental character. So when you're sitting back and observing, to separate, to give you a helping hand, to separate from these things that led you into thinking it matter, what actually matters is characteristics and mental mannerisms. Now, you have to be a spiritually evolved person. What do I mean by that? You have a sense of equilibrium. You know how to decipher between your own biases and getting lost into only making your decision-making qualities or your way of looking at things through the lens of your bias. You have to know that you have no choice but to have a bias because you're your own individual subjective person. Yet don't allow your own bias to get in the way of the best decision-making quality for the circumstance, and being aware to allow people to have their own bias also. Just having that spiritual awareness separates you from being a narc, egotistical person, and being in positions where other people, especially even people you care about, but anybody, their way of acting and thinking frustrates you. It prevents that. So the level of frustration is small on a percentage scale. Like you have more control over what's going on in your life or whatever the case may be. So the reason why I say that is because when you get into that and you're more spiritually inclined, you're not going to be a person looking at this like a magic trick and say, oh, so beyond the physical, I need to pay attention to mannerisms and mental constructs, and then you totally forget to what about yours? And then you think you're intelligent because you could pay attention to somebody else's problems, and you end up developing more problems than anybody. You know what I'm saying? We talk about a self thing here. To walk with God is a personal journey. God to get mad, you can't think for yourself enough. You know what I'm saying? So you got to think for yourself, and now you're thinking like God. Not God, can you think for me? You know what I'm saying? That don't make no sense at some point. You know what I'm saying? You in one breath, you want to be like God. In another breath, you know what I'm saying? You want God to think for you. Well, God thought itself. You know what I'm saying? So the better you could think yourself, you thought something like God. Now you ain't going to get it like God or whatever, but you tried. And I guarantee you'll be in a better position than somebody else. So you getting there. You walking with God. You see what I'm saying? It's a different type of path when we talk about the spiritual world. It's still pathways. It's still directions and stuff like that. But it's just seen as you always going to the liquor store path. You know what I'm saying? You always going, you know what I'm saying? You go to your baby mama house to crash out path and stuff like that because you seen the car there that you know where that car at. You know what I'm saying? Like the car from somebody from another hood or whatever like that. You're like, wait, this car is supposed to be over here. You know what I'm saying? The only way this car over here is through your baby mama. Your baby mama is the access of that nigga from another hood. You know what I'm saying? In your hood. So it's a deep game. It's a deep game. But like I said, right? Once you look, and here's the thing, you can get into all that as long as you check yourself first. When a person don't check themselves, You still yourself, you just get lost in others. You get lost in other worlds, other people's minds, other circumstances. Put your spirit space in other spaces you don't belong in. And it play out in the 1, 2, and 3rd dimension as you not minding your mother business. You always in somebody else's business. But when it's time for you to have some business of your own, trust me, it's on the foundations of you being frustrated more the percentage scale at that time. You know what I'm saying? Or you ain't got no business and you more frustrated because you can't get involved in nothing. So your day, you hate silence and being alone or something like that, and call and make up an issue you got to call somebody or whatever the case. You know, that's when you know all your creativity is drained. All your lifespan is drained, and you look like the individual that this live stream is about, when your hormones unbalanced and stuff like that, and you ain't thinking right. You see what I'm saying? And you probably start to look at other people. You probably that family member that be saying, why you don't ever lose no weight and you be eating just as much as me and stuff like that. You probably that family member saying that. I can't eat nothing. I got to stop eating or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And it don't be having nothing to do with eating and stuff like that too. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it comes to exercising. If you want to lose weight, losing weight don't have anything to do with exercising or whatever the case may be. Exercising is to just make sure you a well running oil machine. You could be a fat person and still a well running oil machine. That don't mean you getting the fat off, you know what I'm saying, or whatever the case. And then how you get fat, overly fat or whatever, is because at the starting point you wasn't a well-oiled running machine. But exercising is keep things running, so everything just don't collapse or whatever the case may be. But losing weight is a lifestyle change. You could be a person that's fat and you eat and continue to eat the same way you eat, but if you move to a different city, or let's say you start doing different things, you get a different job, you get a new friend group, or whatever the case may be, you would start losing weight way faster than you was exercising that whole year, or whatever the case. Guaranteed. It's a lot of people went through that. It's a lot of big people I know, and either they switched up, moved here or moved away, and we seen them later, or a person moved from where they was at, and once they was around us for a while in school or after a while and stuff like that, they start slimming up. They start changing. You know what I'm saying? And things of that nature, because it's a lifestyle change. So losing weight ain't predicated on eating. You can eat what you want. Now, here's the thing. Do everything in moderation. You know what you doing. So when I say what I'm saying, it ain't predicated on you not taking personal responsibility. Everybody know when they doing something wrong and they going overboard germane to their own body. You know what I'm saying? You know that you might be allergic to something somebody ain't. So just because I say, if you might be allergic to celery, I'm making this an example. So just because I say, yeah, celery, you ain't about celery or something like that, but you do need to eat celery or whatever the case may be, you know you allergic to celery, so you know to take that in one ear and out the other. And you know I ain't necessarily talking about celery. I'm talking about the style, the lifestyle change, maybe the timing of something, maybe the timing to eat, maybe the area, maybe what you see what I'm saying? I'm talking about more of that. What I'm pulling out my hat, my cat in the hat, maybe something germane to me that helped me out. Now, you could be in that same spiritual space, but you still have to take personal spiritual responsibility to do what you do. Because I might do something that might not cater to you. That's why I brought being allergic to something to the discussion or whatever the case may be. So people can understand that, and it's most rooted, you know what I'm saying, in a natural way. It's natural for some people to be allergic to something and some people ain't. So take that energy and put it in other pockets of life. It's natural in other areas too. Everybody got to walk their own path, but you can get assistance on getting on the right path or whatever the case may be. So yeah, I can show you, I can lead, but I'm not the leader. See what I'm saying? I can lead, I'm not the leader. Wherever I led is something I led myself to. If it's productive, ultimately it's something on the right side of the universe. It can help myself and others. So for the most part, you can go there and do it your own way. But if I did it first, or whatever the case may be, then that was just assistance for you to get to the ocean to make your own cup. Therefore, that separates the little person, the big person mentality, the person who got the ego mentality, the person who got the authority, or the person who's the doger, or the person who needs to be controlled, or whatever the case. It allows everybody to have their own right, and one was just the example for the other to remind them what ability they already have. That's why I always tell y'all, I'm not teaching you nothing. I'm only reminding you what you already know. And to go against anything I'm saying, you're just rejecting something within you could be aware of, whether you like it or not. We're all kind of reflecting each other. So it might be a side that you could be aware of that you wasn't aware of previously that you didn't like. But awareness is life. That's the first substance. So the more awareness, the more intelligence. So if you could be even more aware of things you don't like outside of you, person, place, or thing, circumstance, or situation, is just a reflection of that piece that we all connected, and you got that development inside of you attached to one of your organs and your mentalities and things of that nature. So seeing all sides of you is still positive, and therefore you're able to conduct yourself in a better manner. Therefore, these internal and external examples and representations and influences don't direct you to do something hasty or some strange things for a piece of change, because this emotion, you can't handle it and you got to do something about it. This thought, you can't handle it, so you got to do something about it. And this external representation of it, you just got to get rid of it or something, and stab it with a sword. Y'all crazy, man. All y'all be thinking like colonists. God, please float over New York and take all the knives out of their kitchen. All those ethnicities. All y'all Dominicans, all y'all Africans, everybody. Y'all going crazy up there in New York, man. What's wrong with y'all? God damn, man. Lord Jesus Christ. I don't even think knives was even, at least the colonists came over here, the knives was meant for one thing. They just turned into war. So they ain't even for kitchen appliances and cooking anymore. So knives' first ideology was to put it in a neck. Oh, fun of that. Oh, fun of that. Put it in a neck. Oh, fun of that. Put it in a knee. There's a lot of trouble behind the knives and stuff like that on American soil. Now you might be somewhere else. You might, you might be in Britain. Not Britain. They'll hold it out there. About the start of it, but you could be somewhere over there and all these other countries and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? In Sicily and, you know what I'm saying, on somewhere over there and stuff, Asia somewhere. Oh, not Asia either. I'm not Genghis Khan and them children. Not that. You know what I'm saying? Well, be no goddamn karate movies. You know what I'm saying? Humans ain't shit. That's what it's all comes. That's what it all boils down to. And when we all understand that, we'll all come together a lot better. All of us, we all come together, so we'll all be in a better vibration. So we all, once we understand, humans ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? That's it. I mean, if you in a human body right now, you start to understand that, you'll get along with your neighbors a lot better. Trust me, for your neighbors, for your family, friends, and associates, this is gonna be about this live stream first. You get right with yourself first. Because that'd be the first problem. Anytime somebody's causing hell for other individuals, they already going through hell internally. So they just want other people to feel what they feel. Guess what? Hurt people hurt people. It ain't that deep. You know what I'm saying? Things don't be that deep. You know, all you gotta do is sit back and think, man. Things don't be that deep. But y'all take life too hard, though. You be easy on yourself. Pause. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, y'all gotta take it easy. Pause. This is the beat of pause all over the pause. God damn, let's rap about it. Pause. But Jay, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, mental characteristics. That's the main thing to pay attention to. I had to get into all that as a disclaimer though, because y'all know this spirituality for the hood. And reservations and things of that nature to get more evolved. So for the most part, all that was based on equilibrium energy, so you don't get the mistake that gaining intelligence is purely focusing on things outside of you, and that's gonna, in your mind, that's just another person. And now you think observing another person's mannerisms and things of that nature, and is developing your own, or whatever the case may be. And here's the thing, you could be in your own bias. It's like the 8th house energy, right? When a person got their own internal energies that they ain't expressed yet, they ain't even got to be negative, but it still creates an aura. It depends on the observer, the other person, the other family member, friend, or associate or coworker. If you the individual who got things inside that it just ain't worth expressing or whatever, still play out as an aura. It take a person around and with their mind and intent is on to justify what they're picking up with their spiritual antenna. And if you're around negative family members, friends, and associates, they'll put your spiritual back against the wall because they'll start creating a tit for tat scenario. It's little petty, like it ain't stuff that's worth arguing, but we all go through this. It'll be something to bring up something that you might not think is that deep, yet you ain't the one that was going to bring that conversation up because it wasn't worth talking about it. But it may be something you involved in or something that maybe this person think you're going through or whatever the case may be. That's what I call putting your spiritual back against the wall, where the things you're holding on to in your spiritual backpack, someone want to check in it. But it might not be nothing you want them to see in it. But they put your back against the wall so you can't move nowhere else until you show it. So they can leave you alone and you to go back on your path or whatever the case may be. Now, people who got a lot of negative stuff in their backpacks and stuff like that, a lot of times it play out as a blow-up moment or whatever. Or extreme manipulation where they're always trying to persuade the scenarios that they're in, dealing with their family, friends, and associates. They try to persuade the scenario to never create a situation that something out that backpack had to be exposed or whatever the case may be, or they have to be seen in it because they don't want to soak in it based upon other people being aware of it now or however the case may be, right? But when you got your spirit, that's what I call having your spiritual back against the wall, however the case may be. Now, it's an aura, but it takes an individual and how they perceive it with their spiritual antenna if they're going to start throwing negative on you or not. And a lot of times you get your spiritual back get put against the wall real fast if you're around a negative family member, friend, associate, or coworker or stranger, because they're stereotype. They're stereotype from only their self-projection. So they may have experienced a lot of thieving in their life. They may have been thieves. They may have, however the scenario is. So you may have moved your elbow, have a mannerism, have a way where your spirit is inside of your first mind and you construct something to put out words that may have something to do with that area in an esoteric location that person perceived people who was actually doing those things, right? So they may see you in that light or whatever the case may be. And therefore, they think they're intelligent, and a lot of times, false pretense, presupposition, prejudge, be wrong. Then have to apologize. Then, a lot of times, depending on how extreme they go, because they may have had a lot of previous validities, validations, times they was right, because we all involve in ourselves and the social norms and how to get money. So a lot of times, it's a lot of things that be obvious, but we lie to ourselves to participate. Then when we don't participate, we start to kick the knowledge of it like we kicking something brand new. Like a motherfucker wasn't getting colonized 300 years ago, or a person wasn't getting rocked to sleep with their money 300 years. Like you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, this is what we do. You know what I'm saying? This is what we do. But at the same time, you see what I'm saying? This puts you in a perspective of understanding you could see something through the lens of your bias and be totally wrong and still think you right, depending on how many times something was obvious and you was right based upon you getting that validation previously. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of times, and it could be moments that you're not supposed to be in that energy, and then you'll do that energy and actually create more of a problem where you try to take one step and actually take 10 steps backwards. And you ain't let God take one step. And then you take where you take one step and God will take another. You know what I'm saying? You ain't do it in that position. So you try to control too much and you was hiding in something. So that's a bias. So we have to have true equilibrium. And when you have true equilibrium, now you can start to pay attention to, you start to observe how you possibly could be seen through the eyes of others and how others are seen in a more proper, broad way, even when that person don't know how they're seen and they're in that validity energy. So that y'all around multiple other people that just can't seem to see what you see. And you might be a willing participant with the family, friend, or associate or coworker. And you know something is right, but everything is in reverse in the spiritual world when it's transmuted in the physical world. Something you know is right, you know expressing it can feel so wrong. You know expressing it could make everything tear down, ruffle feathers, put damages on a relationship. You know what I'm saying? Take somebody out they lie, make you feel like you the bad guy. All you did was expand the scenario though. But that let you know you in the loop, you in the fluff in some type of way, shape, or form, and you cleared it out with sunlight. in some type of way. Or you want to participate in it until it accumulates too much and become a dark cloud. Then it's going to rain on everybody with that emotional arousement. Then everybody going to do something with that emotion, with their adrenaline. And then hopefully you don't become a victim or a witness of the circumstance or situation that ultimately is going, it's the storm outside. When it's cold outside, don't. It's sunny rain. Da 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 da. Don't. I forgot the words. My girl, my girl. You know what I'm saying? So that's just your emotion. Your man's is your thought. You got to look at it like that, though. But for the most part, that's how you add equilibrium. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes y'all have sex too much. You got this thought, you got this feeling. They start having sex, it turn into an emotion. And now you like in that womb. That emotion is a mind, a womb, and your spirit is inside of it. And then you try to create more versions inside to make that germinate. And then it like bursts open like a seed, and then it start to plant, and then it grow, and then whatever fruit that come from it, you bear it. So you become the fruit bearer, however the case may be, due to the fact of you having sex in the internal world. Now, if you don't look at it in that aspect, a lot of times these things get the best for you. They get the best of you. It's just sex all over the place. The only thing is sex on your mind. And we ain't even talking about actual physical sex. We're just talking about, hey, maybe this thought I could feel. Maybe this thought I could feel. Maybe this thought. And you create a bunch of fields of realities and things that you inside of. And it's hard to get out of these things. And you might have people around you that try to get you out of these things. And you might not be able to see your way out of them until it condense and become an actual situation for you to realize, damn, the way I was thinking was off track. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't even come back for that because once the situation happened, I'm a master orator, going back to the beginning. They get stuck in acting from the reactionary energy. So based upon the starting point, how they ended up in the situation in the first place and all the spiritual nuances, they passed that up, and only in the fine prints of what actually have happened was actually justified and would actually make sense to react to, that everybody else who's lost in the validity world think it makes sense to react to, never actually taking care of the internal cause, physically and all the way going back to the beginning of the live stream, internally of how y'all be getting hormonal imbalances, and then it develop as a physical problem, and then it's already too late once it become that. Now you need the external physical assistance and things of that nature. And once you're in that area, you might not be able to get off the crutch. Your body might not know how to sustain itself. And that's like a person high off a Future song with double cups off Lil Wayne codeines and things of that nature, and let them go to jail for just 2 days. When is the court date? Oh, it's Friday. I'm here all weekend. Sweat. What's that? Itching. Going through a withdrawal. Thank God weed don't do that. Thank God weed is just from earth. You know what I'm saying? Not these new gas station weeds and these suspensory weeds and stuff like that. Them ain't weed. Them just some new synthetic plant that anybody could grow. And that it's like a synthetic, it's like a synthetic seed. It's the speed grow seed or whatever. It grow any type of bud or whatever the case may be. Y'all getting high off what they spray on it. They got different what they call that, because it's kind of like how people make hash or the moon rock, where you get the THC. Y'all done let colonists get involved. So y'all getting lab THC. So y'all getting all this new synthetic version THC, something that's supposed to act like THC. So they just get any type of plant, this new type of online type of plant. I call it online plant, but you could grow it. It's a fake seed, and it just look like a plant. Yeah, it don't get you high though. They spray the synthetic THC on it and then call it stuff. You know what I'm saying? You could go get the Orange Supreme Grape Kush synthetic spray. You go get the blackberry two-way foam, goddamn lemon pepper wing, goddamn THC spray. And that's all y'all getting when y'all getting all these flavor weeds or whatever. Y'all getting flavor spray. Y'all getting high off some spray. The first version of it was that K2 stuff or like gas station weed that was killing people. That the lease itself, that ain't it. They figured out how to get any type of seeds and grow a leaf. Y'all smoking something sprayed on something. That's what y'all smoking. So they used to try to do that long time ago. See, I'm from the Midwest. I'm from Ohio. We created all this. Y'all New York, California, and all y'all more consumers than actually producers. Ohio, we created all the, especially back in the day, the Native Americans created all the damn furs and all the damn stuff and stuff like that. So it's like still that mentality running. So y'all just getting anything. Y'all be accepting all them suspensories and all these type of things of that nature. And y'all know y'all not smoking leaves. Y'all smoking sprays on leaves. You know what I'm saying? And the THC, somebody try to be a weedologist and try to tell you these THC oils or whatever the case. Yeah, the government got some synthetic THC oil. It ain't your THC oil you talking about where you just secreted something or whatever. They went in the lab and mimicked aha. Well, that's it. They made a synthetic oil just like the crack pills. All these crack pills, and all them is drugs. Crack drugs, promethazines, fentanyl. You know what I'm saying? They be trying to take people to jail like y'all got some intelligence of creating these things. Y'all ain't got no goddamn intelligence. Where these things even come from? You know what I'm saying? Real stuff. How they create these things and take y'all to jail for these things? That don't make no sense to me. They created that, take y'all to jail for it. Like what? So they get rich off of it, then take you to jail for it when you try to get rich or you get high off of it. So it's like it's weird. It's all synthetic or whatever the case may be. They can get rid of all that shit. You know what I'm saying? They did everything like that. The food, everything, every goddamn thing. You know what I'm saying? Y'all minds. Every goddamn thing. You know what I'm saying? Now look, mental characteristics and mental mannerisms create blood adrenaline that becomes your tissue and blood structure. Harnessing the memories create body malfunctions. Harnessing the wrong memories create body malfunctions and speed up the aging process. So think about a person that you around and they start to look they're starting to look bodily malfunction a little bit. Even a lot of y'all young individuals who start to get the grandpa melted marshmallow waistline after a while, or things of that nature. And you're too young to be getting that and stuff like that. Or if you're witnessing that family member, friend, or associate, 9 times out of 10, you could chalk it up. Maybe 10 times out of 10. They already got insecurities, but those insecurities came from memories that they was harnessing that may not been in their favor before they even had the insecurity that developed as maybe even a physical problem that they or a health issue or maybe their weight issue or whatever that insecurity is a foundation on. But before it even became the insecurity, it was something that they was investing their mental ability on that they had no business investing it on. Yet it's nothing to teach us if that's important or not. We don't have parents who have no school or nothing like that. So certain kids growing up get invested to these things more than others. And a lot of times we can see this in the kids that may not be involved in a lot of things. So the distraction energy, there is a concept of healthy distractions. Let's say your parents or you got a family that get you involved in things of that nature. You don't have time to sit on these things. Now, let's say you a kid that's not involved into a lot of distractions and you got a lot of alone time, probably home alone, right? Then they could go 2 routes in that way. You could be a person that still have a healthy mind, or you could be a person that still be on the end of developing the wrong memories. So you still spending your time when you're not distracted, that by default, there's healthy distractions. Kids could not have their mind on stuff that if their parents getting them involved in stuff, or if their kids active. But if you alone and stuff like that, or whatever, you ain't that active, because you ain't got to be alone, but you ain't that active, you got time to ponder. But if the only things you got time to ponder on is negative memories, then you're going to be in a negative situation than a kid who probably in the same situation than you, but they make their time productive, or whatever the case may be. All that time that that you're developing or that you're investing more stimuli, because you're in that spiritual space, in that wrong memory, and you're developing more awarenesses in it, trying to give it life. Thoughts and feelings is life, and it condense and become death, the physical. See what I'm saying? Birth is the spiritual. 7th, 8th, and 9th dimension, birth, spiritual. 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension, the mind, life. 1, 2, and 3rd dimension, the physical, death. So you got the eternal, internal, 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension, the mind, life, and the external, death. 1, 2, and 3rd dimension. But the eternal is the 7th, 8th, and 9th dimension, the most expanding, your spirit. Keeping it in his pocket. But the person that's in the memory that wasn't in their favor is going to start developing as actual bodily issue or something that they don't like about themselves, even if it's something somebody else not even paying attention to, or a person somebody else probably don't like, probably ain't in that mind state of looking at it like it's something that they don't like, or it might even be something that they could like or grow to like or just like it. You know what I'm saying? A person start to develop this inside themselves and genuinely don't like it, and genuinely start to self-project in areas they don't think so, and they start to act in that manner. So they start to think everybody's seen them in this light also. So it could be a person who liked that about them. They'll push them away eventually, not knowing, because they'll be thinking, oh, this person don't like this. They're just trying to do something else. It'll be a person trying to help them with it. They'll push it away. It'll be a person that actually don't like it or whatever. They become extra aggressive or shy completely away from the circumstance. But this is a person that's in their own world, and they won't be able to get out of it in some way, shape, or form, to be in a different space, to be around others who have similar problems, to be open to people who, to see that this is what it looked like of someone who likes it, and to be in a situation of not even taking it as personal as someone expressing it to dislike, because it's something you dealt with inside yourself. So you know that this person is projecting something of that same magnitude they didn't deal with inside themselves. You become the bigger person. See what I'm saying? So you know how to deal with the situation from a more justifiable position, even if you have to fight fire with fire. You know what I'm saying? Your position to be more understandable. And if you're not a weak individual, you won't let them take full advantage of your life in stake when it comes to preserving your life. But if it even get that deep. But a lot of times, if you're already on that path, you won't even be around that extremity. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like a person already experienced what a lot of other people from the hood experience. So what's the point of paying $2 to go into somebody's auntie's basement or whatever the case for a house party when it's always getting shot up or whatever the case may be? So you have spiritually evolved. So you're like, yeah, I check y'all out when y'all not at the house party or whatever the case may be. But that's just to make an example. But now you know you won't even be in that situation when you with your homeboys the next day and they explaining how I got shot up again. You know what I'm saying? You know you wasn't there. But for the most part, understanding this aspect is what's allowing you to maintain and kind of do your actions the right way. But it ain't a right or wrong way when it comes to doing things, because people may think what you're doing when it's a time to fight fire with fire is wrong. But at the same time, based on that scenario, if you're in that situation, you'll be more justified, right? People will be able to make up why they would have did more of what you did than the other participants, or however the case may be. And that even save you in the court of law a lot of times also when you're a spiritual person, yet you may be in an environment where you have to get down dirty a little bit sometimes, or whatever the case may be, right? The way your mind work, and if you in that perspective, judges they're not dumb people. They're able to see that. A lot of times prosecutors and things of that nature be from a lot of the same areas y'all be from and stuff like that. So even though they got a job and they part of a oath or whatever the case may be, right? The results still play out in lineage. I mean, not lineage, but yeah, being lenient and things of that nature. You not getting as much time as the other homeboy or homegirl who probably did the same thing you did or whatever. So the justification behind someone's compassion for a situation, or their not the morality, but the motive behind it, and do a person have what's that word I'm looking for? Do a person have the not it's a sense of regret, you know what I'm saying, that they have to show a little bit. Y'all know the word I'm looking for though. But do a person have that, or a sense of remorse? Yeah, there we go. Do a person has a sense of remorse for what they did or whatever the case? When a person don't have no sense of remorse for what they have done, yet it was intentional. So they're more predicated in their mind trying to find a lie, or just go ahead and chalk it up, you know what I'm saying, settling with their fate or however the case. But a person who have to show remorse, 9 times out of 10, they was at a starting point when the event happened or the crime happened of not really wanting to do it in the first place. That's where the remorse come from. And the higher percentage scale, if you're an honest individual, right, you won't even have to have remorse, but your elbow and your expression is remorse or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? That's just like homeboy, you had to do something that they was showing up at his house or whatever the case, or a lot of other circumstances and situations that people go through in real life where, you know what I'm saying, you might be a man with daughters or whatever the case may be, and they come with black eyes or whatever, and you had to go do something that had you end up in jail. You know what I'm saying? You ain't want to do it, and the remorse, if a person was trying to lie, be different. And you could be in a position where, in that case, you ain't showing no remorse, but the situation and scenario itself, you ain't go out and look for that. It came to you, and that's justifiable. They did something to your daughter. So you could be cussing up a storm in court, but you are the energy. You not acting like it. You're not a caricature. You're in the energy of remorse. People would justify, if I was in that courtroom, I would justify for you. I would give remorse, no matter how much you're cursing or whatever. Because the words coming out, the way your elbow move, is in the world of remorse. So even if you're not acting remorseful, yeah, I ain't sorry for what I did, whatever, the situation itself is in a remorseful world. I will have compassion for you. The judge will have compassion for what you're saying, because it's already on the ground basis of you wouldn't even want to do that anyway, or whatever the case may be. So whatever you expressing of what you're not sorry for still come from a good place, because you got put in that position. You didn't go out and look for it. You see what I'm saying? So these are energies that save people, save you in life, even when you have to fight fire with fire. That's why I made that an example, or whatever the case may be. So I'm saying, because people from the hood to get a better understanding of it. So memories that build guilt, doubt, or being exposed feelings are the most severe stimuli that create extreme tension with the body and reshape a person's tissue, bone structure, or physique into something sloppy with hormone imbalances. You know what I'm saying? So if you got family, friends, associates, co-workers, and stuff like that, a lot of times it's because of the memories that they hold on to and how they react to that, and they're more into that on a percentage scale, that they could be eating the same as you or even doing more than you or whatever. But you will still start to see the sloppiness develop on their body, even if y'all young. You know what I'm saying? You can see this now. A lot of y'all have family, friends, and associates that may be police officers or maybe in the military. These are live examples of individuals that may be in an insecure place. So these, and not everybody in the police force, not everybody in the military and things of that nature, but certain jobs, not just those jobs, but you have to be in a certain space within yourself to even consider wanting to do certain things from a starting point. See what I'm saying? Now, in these areas, I say like 60% of individuals, maybe in a police force or the military, that may possibly could be your family, friend, associate, or coworker, right, is in a bad memory investment in their personal life when they're not in the police force, when they're not in the military, when they're not at their job, right? So a lot of times you can see this as an example, what I'm trying to break down. People in the military have to exercise. They have to do all these drills and stuff like that. People in the police force has to do certain things or whatever. Yet, what do you see most of the time you get pulled over or whatever? Yet, what do you see most of the time you're seeing people in the military or whatever, right? Sloppy people, sloppy looking people with grandma and grandpa waistlines and things of that nature, and you went to high school with that person or whatever, and however the case may be or whatever. And you'll be thinking like, damn, ain't you in the military? Ain't y'all supposed to be exercising, doing drills or whatever? Why you look like Homer Simpson? You know what I'm saying? You're like, you in the police force and this shit, like, why you look like somebody's lazy auntie? You know what I'm saying? Or however the case may be. You know how these chicks be looking when they be diked out in the police force and stuff like that. You be thinking like, damn, you in the police force, you supposed to look more in shape than homegirl I'm fucking that's laying around eating Subway all day. You supposed to be in shape. You running around catching criminals or whatever the case may be. How you look like Mars Simpson? So it's like, you see what I'm saying? It be like, but a lot of times they don't be having nothing to do with the exercise itself. It's what they mind be on. And a lot of them be having oaths that's attached to colonist way of thinking. And a lot of that leads to a lot of destruction in the spiritual world that lead into physical that don't have anything to do with what we're doing externally. And a lot of times these internal things, these people in these positions may take it out on their job. So you may come across a police officer or someone in the military that take out their personal frustration on someone that they may be stereotyping, however the case may be. But it goes deep into a lot of scenarios. I just wanted to make that as an example, but because for people in the hood and reservations. But I love everybody from the bottom of my heart. Flight boss, beep, for sure. You're now listening to the Mind of an Terry's Moon. I am the Royal Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and responsibilities. Rector Swall Hill, hold that yellow hoop. Massasoit, Mama Natoy. Woo.